You guys, welcome to Go Naked podcast, where we bear it all. Welcome back. If you've already seen our original podcast, we have a special guest today, Sheridan Faye, and we are kind of just going to get right into it. So you guys, we actually can now talk about sex and not get red flagged on Facebook. So here we are. All right, so we know you guys have posted a lot about sexual connections, sexual questions, all of that, and sometimes it does get flagged on Facebook. So you guys have commented and basically DM'd us some of your questions. So we are going to read and answer some of your sexual questions. So we're going to get started. Our first question is how to keep sex alive in a long-term partner. So my opinion on that is if you have anything that you're interested in, any type of kinks, anything that you see, I would kind of just sit your partner down and be like, hey, would you maybe be interested in this? Would you, want to maybe try this? I think different things go, a long ways. What do y'all think?
I do. I think that it's the doing of it. It's so easy. That's one of the things that I've learned with Chad living in a different state. So a lot of you guys already know, but my husband lives in a completely different state than me. So we have less time. And one of the things that we've learned is that we actually have to try harder. And a lot of times when you don't have to try as hard, you quit trying.
Right.
And I think that's part of it. The big thing is, it gets easy to go to work and come home and be tired and cook and lay down and go to sleep. But we're supposed to make an effort. And also seasons do change. And it's not always going to look the same. I mean, at 44, I've had tons of different seasons, and that's okay too. And so is he, and so have other men that I've been with. And so I'm probably going to say it 50 times today. We talked about it before we started, but communication and doing it. I get that it's easy to not want to, but it's easy to not want to because it's easy to not want to do shit, really. Let's be honest. It's easy to not do it.
Yeah. I think for me, it just boils down, do I still like that person? No. I think that's a huge part of it. We see so many women that make comments about their current situation at home. And I genuinely wonder, do y'all still even like each other? And that's a huge part of connection. There's a couple that I love. He's a real estate agent in town. She is a mogul in her right, works in a cell phone company. She raises the kids, all the things. But they are a couple that I've always looked at since college because they continually they like each other. And It's so evident. And when it comes to keeping the spark alive with a long-term partner, look, as you said, seasons change, we grow, we shift, and we're either going to grow this way or we're going to grow this way. And both are perfectly okay. But taking an interest in your partner and the things that they like, paying attention to your partner, complimenting them, saying thank you, things like that is all part of what keeps that connection going. And I truly think that keeping sex alive with a partner is being spontaneous, remembering that it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
it's not supposed to be a chore. Dildo sword fights, they're a lot of fun. Keeping it, this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be jovial. I think what we've got to remember is it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable for the both of you.
Yeah.
Not just one getting off, not the other getting off, and the other one's just like, when I got mine, bye. Dildo sword fights, they're a lot of fun. Laugh. Remember to laugh. If you can't have fun with your long-term partner, whether it's sex or without, that's where the issue lies. That's my biggest suggestion is, do you still like each other?
Yeah. I mean, look, sex should be fun.
Get back to that.
It should be fun. But also, you made a great point. You can love someone, but do you like them?
Mm-hmm. But also, I think that goes back to long term. Now, sometimes we don't like them anymore. That's a whole different conversation. We won't have that today. But also, liking my spouse and wanting to spend time with my spouse is because I give a shit.
Right.
Like she was saying, that is about spontaneity. That's about having fun. That's about intimacy.
Yeah.
Intimacy and sex are two different things, and we forget that. It's very easy to just put forth love and laughter and hang out.
And
a lot of times we just don't do it, and then everything falls away, you know? And people tell Chad and I that all the time. They're like, y'all are different. It's amazing. We're not that different. We're just doing the work, man. We're just doing the work because we love each other and we want to do. I love y'all. I'm doing the work in these relationships.
Sure.
Why wouldn't I do it in the one that's in my household?
Exactly.
Correct. The one that's closest. It all starts with effort.
Yes.
The beginning, the end, everything. It starts with effort. So keeping your sex alive with a long-term partner, we are going to all come to a conclusion that it starts with effort. You have to not also love them, but you have to like them. You have to be interested in them. Keep it alive. Look up different sex positions. Look up different fetishes. Like, explore. Do your homework. Find things that like make you kind of tick. Communicate that with your partner. And then do the things.
Yeah.
It's about effort. All right, we're going to go to our next question. Miss Sheridan.
All right. So I want to do anal things to my husband. How would I introduce this in the bedroom? We've seen a lot of this common theme, and our answers are either this way or this way. Ladies are open to it. Ladies, a man's G-spot is in his ass. Okay, let's just get that out there. It is in his ass. It's not taboo. It doesn't mean that he's gay. If we like pleasure from anal stimulation or not, if we can come from vaginal stimulation, know that he can too from anal stimulation. And it doesn't have to be. Look, the whole reason why we're so freaked out about it is because of the way that we are raised. We are in the South. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And we are ingrained in this black or white, like anything in the but for a man that means he's gay and he likes a man. No, that's not what it means at all.
Yeah.
And it very simply goes back to when I'm with my partner, that space that we are in, that's my safe space. I'm connecting with him. There are no outside influences, or there shouldn't be. And if there's outside influences inhibiting what it is that I'm doing, that's because how I was raised. Somebody's going to judge me or X, Y, and Z. That shouldn't be there in my space where I'm connecting with my partner. And it could start very easily. And it's whether you want it or he wants it. Start with a finger, start with lube, have the discussion. It comes back to, is this something you've ever thought about? If you guys watch porn together, maybe add that into your rotation and just gauge how he feels about it, or gauge his body language. Pay attention to if he's tensing up, if he looks interested in what's happening on the screen. Again, it goes back to effort. It goes back to taking down these walls, because when we are in our safe space playing with our partner, there should be nothing that is off the table.
Right.
If it's what either of the partners want to enjoy. So just start, whether it's with a conversation or.
Yeah, I think a lot of men kind of have this idea of like it being very vulnerable. They're being put in a position of vulnerability. A lot of men think automatically, no, that's gay.
Right.
Like, I don't do that. They immediately start thinking about them as a man and as a person, as a provider and all of these things. But when in reality, your G-spot's in your ass.
Right.
So.
And they're not taught that.
They're not taught that.
They're not taught that.
No.
All they're thinking about it. Because ladies, let me tell you, for a man who allows himself to be vulnerable enough to experience it, they are about it.
That's a man.
When a man is, I can't do that. It's all going on up here.
Yeah, it's all mental.
It's all here. And that goes back to sexual education. It goes back to the way we are taught and raised in the South, and sex is taboo because it is their brain telling them it's not okay.
Yeah.
But isn't that like so much of sex in general? If we take away from that, we're talking about men and we think about our own experience, until we set down all the ideas that we were told and all the things that we were told. Like, I love how you said it's about your safe space.
Yeah.
I've never heard somebody put it that way, but it is so true. It's like you're in a bubble.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whatever happens in that bubble. Now, let me also say it depends on the relationship.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I've been in bubbles before, and sir, no.
Right.
But when I'm in my bubble, then that is just a growing experience together. And you're having fun and you're trying new things and you've got your box of toys and you are communicating and it's slow and steady and everyone should be enjoying it. And communicating and trying new things. And I think it changes. I don't know. I would think that y'all are going to understand this when I say it, but it's like you just get set into a different time zone. You're like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
Right here. And when I'm done, I'm going back to this outside of my bubble. But here we can do this. And I think that men feel the same way. And it took us a while to get there. And like you said, there's a lot of, they don't understand it. Nobody's talking to them. You know what?
Yeah.
There's not a man podcast about this.
Right.
There's not a man group about this. I think we have to remember that. And we have to open up about ourselves and become vulnerable and really allow the relationship itself to be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
It might be really slow. We might barely try it. We might try a little bitty touch. And then we might go from there, but let's see what this looks like.
Right. Mm-hmm. I will also say, communicate this softly. Don't go in. And also, do not surprise your husband with a finger in the ass. Like, they never like that. It's a surprise nobody wants. Please consent. Like, don't just start sticking things in there without this boy knowing, because my God.
Well, I'm a big fan of when you talk about sex, it should be done outside of the bubble.
Sure.
When
Absolutely.
Argument. Like, it's no different than whenever I tell people, why are you talking about relationship things when you're yelling at each other?
Right.
Like, separate, come back to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same thing. The last place that I want to have a vulnerable conversation, or what I might deem as awkward, is in the middle of having sex.
Right.
I want to stay in my bubble and just enjoy it. Enjoy what that looks like. After that, go.
Have a follow-up. Hey,
Exactly.
After you have a big meeting, what is one of the Salesforce AI commercials right now? Because everything's AI. There's 8 million different things of AI. I'm like, can I just have one? But it's Salesforce. Summarize the meeting. Not in that moment. But go back, analyze the game, replay the footage as a football coach would do. Hey, what did you think about that? Did you like this? Maybe not. Could we try it this way? Or that kind of hurt. Can we maybe try this position? Or, hey, I was thinking about this. I saw this and this intrigued me. It's a very much a give and take thing. And like Brittany said, it's a vulnerable position for a man. Hell, it's a vulnerable position for a woman to say, hey, I want anal. And some guys may be like, oh, I don't want to hurt you or anything like that. But it's about being open and getting comfortable. And with anal especially, and especially when it comes to a man, is even women, we see the comments of everybody, that man's gay, that man's gay. We've got to reframe our own thinking.
Yeah.
And that goes back to, we were not taught any of this. We were also taught that sex outside of marriage was not okay. We were taught, man, woman, missionary, that's how it goes.
Babies only.
And that's it. And that's it. And if you were fortunate enough to have tons of different life experiences, or people in your life that were more open, you've had the chance to sexually evolve. For some of us, I just turned 40 and I'm living my best life, but that was not the case in my 20s, even in my 30s. It's an evolving process.
Yep. All right, next question.
What's it mean? How can I improve my sexual confidence with my body during sex? And I really like this question. I want to start off by saying, only because it's a segue from what we were just talking about with anal, and I was thinking about it. And if you're not truly comfortable and relaxed, then things do hurt. Mm-hmm. And the hurt isn't bad, but I have just noticed in my own experience that if you want to be confident, you've got to get in your bubble, and you've got to find a peace there. It doesn't hurt the same when my body is relaxed. That is a natural form. So I do first off think, because that's not what I originally was thinking whenever I was reading that, but after we were talking, I think that's so important that we get so tense, and it's got to be this exact way, and what is sex going to look like today in every aspect, and like that does not work.
Right.
Yeah.
It hurts. It does in all aspects, and even in your mind and your heart and everything, and then also what I really love is mirror affirmations. I think that learning self-love, and we talked about this before we came on today, I literally had women tell me that they never look at themselves in the mirror, that they don't ever, that they don't want to get naked in front of their partner, that they don't take their clothes off, that they only have sex in the dark, that they, mirror affirmations, you should look at yourself in a mirror. You should look, stare at your body and appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Like, my entire life, I've been thick. I've had thick thighs. I've got a thick belly. It is what it is. And I used to hate that. And now I'm like, bitch, you look good.
Yeah.
Because I've stared at myself long enough to look at it different. I can see all of my energy. And I am just who I am, quite fucking frankly. That is, and there's a lot of really good affirmations about this on YouTube as well that you can actually watch, and they will spell it out for you. And so it kind of goes from head down. It's very similar to a meditation, right? But you're starting at the top of your body and you're going down, and you're just standing there naked, and you are appreciating what you were given. And this, to me, is one of the top ways to be confident. Also doing it. Mm-hmm. And when I say doing it, I mean turning the fucking lights on, taking the clothes off. If you never do anything,
then how do you know?
That's exactly right.
How do you know?
That's the hardest thing for people to understand. So what everyone wants is to be confident before they do the work to be confident, and it doesn't work that way. I think that you have to actually do the work first, and the confidence comes after that.
Yeah,
and I think you have to put yourself out there, and then you realize I am okay. Nobody makes fun of me. People think I'm beautiful. It's great. How the fuck would I have known that if I didn't do the work in the first place?
Yeah. So I think it starts off with self-love, right? You have to love yourself. Then the confidence comes in after that. Because if you love yourself, the confidence goes into the bedroom as well. I used to be the person that got into my head. How do I look in this position? Does he think I'm attractive? Mm-hmm. Then I just kind of stopped doing that. I started loving myself more. And also the confidence shows to your partner as well. So if you have the confidence, he feels that, or she feels that, whoever you're with, and then that makes it so much better. Getting out of your head and connecting with your partner. If you are worried about what your body looks like in whatever position you were putting yourself in, you are completely out of the moment. Mm-hmm. You're not connecting with your partner, which that's the reason for sex in the first place, is to connect with that person. And then now, you're in your head, you're feeling all these emotions. He might kind of resonate with I wonder if she likes what I'm doing, or am I doing it wrong? Am I hurting her? Why is she not into it, kind of thing? It really does and can ruin a mood 100%. So I think working on your self-love, learning to love your body, and then showing up with that in the bedroom is a beautiful way to go about things. I think that everybody's beautiful. If y'all don't know, I am a nude artist. So I have painted all different kind of bodies. And I just think the human form is a beautiful thing. And I think no matter if you have rolls, or if you're a little chunky, or if you're too skinny or whatever, like you said, look in the mirror. Instead of looking in the mirror and going about things that you hate, start with all of the things that you love. And that's kind of how it worked for me. I would look in the mirror and I'd be like, I don't like this, I don't like this. But I have great fucking tits. Natural tits at that. Me too, bitch. I have great fucking hips. I love these things about myself. Yeah. Also, if I do get skinny, I kind of look, because of my height, I look sickly almost. I like a little meat on my bones. And also, men these days like a little something to grab onto. It's not back in the day whenever you had to be 5'9", 130 pounds. That's what our BMI is supposed to say. Right. It's not like that anymore. Self-love brings confidence into the bedroom. Start learning to love yourself, bitches.
And we realize it's not easy. No. I've gone through a journey myself. I didn't have a full-length mirror for years. So some of this mirror work that Heather is talking about, it took me wanting to get as healthy on the outside as I was feeling on the inside, because I was doing the work, getting a full-length mirror, those mirror affirmations, masturbate in front of the mirror, turn yourself on.
Yeah.
If you can't like what you are looking at, that translates to somebody else. But what Brittany said, it's so true. When I was growing up, early 90s, it's that Victoria's Secret model, that Angel's fashion show. Yeah. There was one way that a woman was supposed to look. And one of the songs that I love is is a song about, I know Victoria's Secret. She was made by a dude, basically, this unrealistic version of a woman that we all are conditioned to believe that if we don't look like that, that we're not beautiful. And I applaud body positivity. Body positivity. We preach that in my house. Or, brands that are being more inclusive in the women that they are showing, because while it may seem silly, it truly does. If we see people that look like us on the TVs and in ads like that, that does translate to our brain to maybe I'm beautiful. But it starts with me. There's no just like, oh, self-love, great, it's all going to work out. It does take the work. And I know the work is exhausting. It absolutely is. But if I want those things better for myself, if I want a deeper connection with my partner, if I want to like myself when I look in the mirror, that doesn't just poof magically happen. Yeah. I have to do the work to evolve.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing about it.
Yeah, evolving.
For sure. I am 44. I don't know that I started to really feel healed till about 4 years ago. And I don't know that I really started to say for real that I love myself till maybe 6 years ago even. Mm-hmm. So, and I got sober 13 years ago. So,
it takes time.
It takes time, but also it takes work.
It takes time. It takes work. It takes consistency.
Yeah. I still do the work. That's the thing. I'm here today and I still do the work.
Well, yeah, because if you stop doing the work, the negative thoughts can be intrusive, and then it's a constant thing. I will always love my body no matter what shape it's in. Yeah. So it's just about self-care, confidence, bring that into the bedroom. You're good to go, my baby. All right, next question. In the dating stages, how can I navigate sexual consent and boundaries effectively? Ha ha ha. So, I think I'm the only one here that's like casually, it's like casually dating.
I know, I just read
I don't do that.
So I will say, with the way dating has evolved these days, everyone's talking to everyone. It's very exhausting. I can't tell you how many times I get on these apps and then in like 3 weeks, I'm literally off of them because they are so exhausting and like nothing really comes out of it. I will say this. Do not sleep with anybody unless it's like the 4th or 5th date. And here's why. For one, on the first date, no fucking way. Absolutely not. You do not know this person. You do not know who they've been with. You do not know their sexual activity. You don't know anything about them.
And stop sending them naked pictures.
God,
stop doing that. It's ridiculous. They immediately put you in a category of like, I will never date this chick. And if they do date you, they're a fucking walking red flag. Absolutely. Stop fucking sending nudes. You send nudes to your partner. Do not send nudes to just people. We don't do that. Cover your titties. Anyway, second date, you're still trying to get to know this person. Third date, again, you're a little bit further into their interests and all of these things. It's consistent now. We have a pattern going. Fourth date, if you want to, go ahead. Fifth date, I'll always say do it on the 5th date, just because there's been enough time. There's enough time spent with one another. There's enough conversation. You got to know these people, asking if you've asked the right questions. You know about these people. I don't sleep with people on the first date. Like they immediately put you in a category that you're not wife worthy. You're not partner worthy.
If that's what you want, if you want casual relationships, if you want the freedom of sex with different partners, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you were on these apps and you were going on these dates because you are wanting a monogamous long-term partner situation, then that's just not the things that you do. And how can I navigate consent? Be blunt. It's taken me 40 years to say yes to this, no to this. Do you want to do this? If the answer is no, okay, that's fine. We can keep doing what we're doing. But if you want to, let's go. But this is my boundary.
Yeah.
And that all comes back to confidence in myself, that it's taken me 40 years to have that, to know what I am going to accept. And they appreciate it's clear cut. Yeah. We were raised, and gosh, I tell my daughter, there's none of this. Stop. No.
Stop doing that.
Be blunt. If
Yeah.
the answer is no, the answer is no. I will accept this. I will not accept this. Nobody needs to be confused about where you lie on any of these issues regarding consent or what you will and won't accept when it comes to sex with a partner. The answer is yes. The answer is no. The answer is I'm willing to try. Red light, green light, yellow light. Have safe words. But setting clear boundaries are just that simple. Yeah. No, I'm not into that. No, I will not accept that. Yes, we can do this.
Yeah.
And you can just move on because there's no mincing words.
No, yeah, look, I absolutely, whenever conversations first get started and they'll maybe mention like a sexual gesture or something, I'm like, hey, look, I'm just going to put this boundary here now. I don't sleep with you on the first date. I don't sleep with you on the second date. I don't sleep with you on the third date. If this is not your fucking forte, if you're not in for it, then you can like kick rocks. But this is just how it is. I will also say to single women, you need to masturbate before you go on a date because we do stupid shit when we're horny. You're welcome.
Fair.
I've done the stupidest shit.
Get it out of the way.
Because I was horny. So like I will absolutely masturbate before I go on a date or anything like that. Because if I'm horny, going on a date, things may happen. I'll regret it later.
He's gonna like order you a cheese stick and you're like, let's go.
Right. Like order an eggplant and be like,
home for some mozzarella sticks.
Well, and I think that was similar to what I was thinking. I mean, granted, it's been 8 years since I've been on a date, but I still don't think, and I know a lot of the rules have changed, by the way, and it's different. However, I think that there's still the idea when we talk about consent and boundaries, that we do have to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
When Chad and I first started dating, I had just come off of a year hiatus of no men at all. And so I was very particular about how long it was going to take and what we were going to do. And we were going to date. Motherfucker, you were going to take me out and then you were going to bring me home. That's what we were going to do. And we did do that, for I want to say like a month and a half, which was great, That's a conversation. And kind of like what Sheridan said about boundaries, man, I see this a lot. And this is not about, it's blaming, and we're not about to go down a rabbit hole of, there are some really bad experiences out there. And so we're not talking about men that can't hear you or circumstances where you're not heard. But oftentimes we are not clear. Oftentimes we are giving off a vibe. So I see women all the time. Why are there hundreds of men in my inbox? Why are there still hundreds of men on your page? Because I'm blocking them. That's what I'm doing.
Block them.
Why do all of these men, like you said, want to have sex with me on the first date? Why am I being groped? Or why? There is an energy we give off, and nobody's going to convince me that I'm wrong about that. You can put forth a boundary, and you don't giggle. You say no. You're either an intelligent woman that knows what she wants and puts forth boundaries and is loved for that.
Or you're leaving a window open and that's why they're coming.
That's exactly fucking right. So you get to decide.
Look,
that's up to you.
I appear as a freely single woman on Facebook just because my partner is not on socials. But if somebody comes into my inbox and they say something, they send a picture or whatever it is, no. You know what I'm doing? I'm screenshotting and sending it to him anyway and
we can laugh about it.
And we can laugh and we laugh about it. Or if I'm having trouble, like, hey, I think I'm being pretty clear with this person, but he still keeps coming at me. Hey, as a guy, can you tell me what is it going to take for me to shut this down? Again, you said there are men that don't hear you. There are men that don't accept new. No, men, women, whoever that we're speaking about, it doesn't matter. But being clear, being blunt. Y'all stop being so afraid to be called a bitch. Be a bitch.
Beating around the bush.
Be a bitch. It's okay. Set that boundary. And we are conditioned to beat around the bush and be polite and not ruffle feathers. And they still don't hear us. Be a bitch. Yeah. Be clear.
What do you owe that person?
It's okay. We don't owe them anything.
But that's also because our words are saying one thing and our energy and our actions are saying another.
Well, yeah.
Feel that.
Of course, if I'm like, no, don't touch me.
Exactly.
Don't touch me.
There it is. It's complete. And I'm going to tell you what, you will carry that. The question and what we're talking about is dating, but you will carry that into a marriage. Mm-hmm. We have seen
so many times,
just as many issues in a marriage where a woman, and again, we're talking about women because we are women.
Right.
This goes both ways.
This absolutely is good.
About it not going both ways.
We don't bash men. Let's just get that off the
This is what
table.
we're doing
It's just,
today.
yeah.
But about, I didn't want to, and I felt like I had to, or I felt like I was forced to, or I felt like that's what I do because I'm married, or should I just do it, et cetera, et cetera. That is a lack of boundaries that started way before that day.
Yeah.
That started at the beginning.
And there's so many reasons why she doesn't want to do it.
Absolutely.
However, if you communicate that with your partner, maybe they'll be a little bit more understanding. Hey, I had a really bad day. My anxiety's high. If we did this, I really wouldn't be like in the moment. I'm so sorry. Like, let's rain check and I promise I'll make it up to you. That kind of stuff. Communicate that.
Well, and that's a whole nother question for another day, because that also goes into everything we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
There are a lot of reasons. We ought to add that to a question for another day about libido health.
Yeah.
But it's not just because I don't want to.
Right.
And that also is a communication issue. It's a lack of intimacy. It's a lack of self-love. There's so many reasons, but without communication, we're right back to where we started.
Right.
And you have no boundaries, and you are feeling forced to do what you don't want to do because you really don't know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this before we move along. If you don't know yourself enough to have boundaries, then you shouldn't be dating or having sex, quite frankly.
There it is.
That I am going to stake my name on. That year hiatus that I went on changed my entire life.
Yeah.
Changed my entire life. Because it was no longer about men, and it was no longer about dating. It was no longer about what somebody else thought about me or said about me. If you cannot do these things that are healthy for you, then you don't need to be doing them at all.
Absolutely not, because the only thing you're going to attract is all the red flags. All right, let's see. Where are we?
Oh, I think that's me. How do I incorporate foreplay in the bedroom? Again, that goes back to my core point. Do you like the person you're trying to fuck?
Yeah.
Wait, can I say that? Can I say that word?
Yeah.
Are we on a podcast?
Oh, yeah.
But
you can say it.
I've said it like 5 times.
Yeah.
do
We're
you
fine.
like the person that you are trying to have sex with? If so, there should be this level of comfortability. And there's something with him that I'd never even noticed, but he'll make comments about, you weren't even comfortable with yourself naked, but you were comfortable in front of me because we just have that relationship. Laugh. Foreplay can start as laughter. It can be as simple as whipped cream on the nose. Don't be afraid to be silly. Foreplay doesn't have to be porn. There are so many women that get upset that their partners are watching porn. That's a whole nother podcast that we could do. Yeah. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this slow, sensual striptease. As a matter of fact, mine doesn't like that. He prefers wants to watch me just my normal, like take my earrings out, take my clothes off, just if I were would, as if nobody was watching me. Yeah. He feels that is sexy. And again, it goes back to keep it simple.
Keep it fun. Keep it light.
If they're washing the dishes, go up behind them, touch their ass, compliment his or her butt in the cargo shorts, because they all wear the cargo shorts. They're terrible.
They do.
Hey, your ass looks really nice today. Where did we lose that? Where did we as women feel like we were the only one that deserved compliments? And it could be as simple as that. I remember a post the other day and the woman was like, my other friends in marriages think I'm absolutely weird because I compliment my husband. And I was like, that's not normal.
They deserve compliments just as much as we deserve compliments. And if they're doing it, you need to reciprocate that energy.
I want to introduce foreplay again. Let your guy know that you're interested in him.
Yeah.
Look, so we were talking about, our spouses deserve compliments too. They deserve to feel wanted. It's very confusing to me, or at least the relationships in my life. As I grew up, we always expected the man was the one that was always doing the work at the woman. The man pursued the woman. The woman is never to pursue the man. Why? Why can't I compliment him? Why can't I tell him that his butt looks nice? Very simple. Caress his behind or kiss him on the back of the neck. It doesn't have to be porn. It doesn't have to be a striptease. You could keep it.
It doesn't have to be. They literally, it says simple. Foreplay. Play is in the word.
Yeah.
Be fun with it. Have fun with it. Go sit on their lap. Go caress something on them. Like, compliment them. Go up behind them. Like, grab some things. Like, flirt. Have fun.
It's intimacy. You've got to feel comfortable with your partner to do those things. And if you don't feel comfortable with your partner to do those things, to initiate, that's a whole nother ball game. Mm-hmm. Grab a piece of ice, grab a feather, grab, just use your nails. Again, keep it simple. It's desire.
Yep.
Your partner deserves to feel desired. You deserve to feel desired. It has to go both ways. It has to be reciprocal.
Mm-hmm. We just had a post about, my partner's love language is like touching and feeling and, that sort of thing. And mine is not, and I'm busy and I'm et cetera, et cetera. There's a compromise there. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it is. Intimacy is not the same thing. And you might want to have sex if you did the foreplay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's the thing. Well, what if I don't want to have sex? But did you do anything?
Right.
Did you flirt? Did you try? Because also if their love language is being touched and being loved and intimacy, I always try to remember that my husband has on a new outfit or got his hair cut or give him a hug or all these little things, like you said, touch and play and have fun. And if we're not attempting it, then nobody's getting foreplay. Neither are you.
Right.
So again, there's got to be a coming together.
And sex becomes a chore.
That's exactly right.
It becomes, and nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to do chores. I don't want to do laundry. I don't want to do laundry, especially when only you come. No.
Yeah,
it's got to be the both of you. And foreplay introduces desire, and it's just as simple as a compliment, as an abnormal touch that's soft, that lingers a little bit longer. Eye contact is huge. Mm-hmm. Eye contact with somebody else, with another human, the level of vulnerability there. God, I can remember in treatment, we had to line up 2 lines and we just had to literally stare at the person across from us. And we all ended up sobbing, because you're just looking at this person. And as very simple as eye contact with your partner can be like, oh, really?
Yeah.
And then move a little closer. Yeah. Give a little shimmy shake.
I love me some eye contact.
I agree. Oh, it changes.
I desire you. When sex is not a chore and it is fun and it's explorative and it's safe and it's silly, but it's sensual, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
I agree.
Next question.
All right. How do I regain interest in sex after childbirth? And for me, this is going to be a little, I want to say more of a boring answer because, we've been talking about foreplay and anal and all that. But the truth of the matter is you've got to take your kids out of the damn bedroom. At the end of the day, we hear a lot about that. I'm exhausted. I've been watching my kids all day. There is a lack of boundaries when it comes to parenting, especially in women. You're not only a mom. You are also a wife. You're also a partner. Whenever you tell someone that you love them, let's talk about what we've been talking about the whole day. You should give desire. Mm-hmm. You should give love. If I do not have time to love my spouse, I need to figure that out. If I am so exhausted that I cannot do anything other than watch my children, then me and my spouse or partner need to have a conversation where we figure that out. Mm-hmm. Children, I don't care if you co-sleep. I don't give a shit. That's definitely not the rabbit hole we're going down. But your kids need to get out of the room at some point. One of the things that we did, my kids are teenagers now, but when they were younger, and I always suggest this to people, is that we had a shutdown time of 7:30 or 8. Now that sounds early. They didn't have to go to sleep, but you need to go away.
Yeah.
You go into a quiet space, your room with a TV or a puzzle or whatever. To this day, and you've been to my house at that time of night, to this day, my house shuts down at that time of night. I'm not saying everybody's asleep, but everybody needs their time. I want to date my husband.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I want to have alone time. If I don't have any self-care, if I can't bathe, if I don't feel clean, if I don't feel desirable, if I don't have time for foreplay, then I don't want to really have sex either.
Right.
I've exhausted myself. I know this isn't always possible. I've had kids. I understand what babies are like. I'm not an idiot, but we can either continue to make excuses for it, or we can say there's a lack of boundaries here. And we have to do something within our household to change that. And so I really think that removing the children and making our partner a priority, making sex a priority, making self-care and self-love a priority, that should be at the top of the list. You know, you don't think about it when you have a baby at home, but your kids aren't there forever.
Sure.
Empty nest syndrome is very real. I now have an 18-year-old. That's crazy. An 18-year-old. He's almost gone. I have a 16-year-old who barely needs me, you know? It is a completely different life, man. It is completely different. And I'm so glad that I still have myself and my partner and our marriage and my friends and a life. And that I didn't give everything that I had to just being a mom, you know?
I think it's hard. Babies are exhausting.
So-
I can remember my ex left 6 days after my daughter was born to go back to work overseas. And so it was just me wallowing my postpartum, not well, and I was not okay. It's very hard for me to want to have sex again, especially with him, but also because I didn't like him. I didn't like him. I didn't like me. So that all goes back to I think it can be a compromise of what you said. One, a designated time where you get the baby to sleep, get the children to sleep, and it's time for you guys to reconnect. It doesn't have to be physical right away. Sit down and do a puzzle together. Watch a show together. Have a conversation. They make really cool like conversation starter, like cards and things like that. Learn how to reconnect. There's a lot of disconnect that happens in a household that gets, quite upheaval when a baby comes. That you need to figure out how to connect back with each other. And I fully believe that the libido comes with that. The feeling of being desired, of desiring your partner, figuring out a way to reconnect. It's not going to be immediate. It's just not. Our bodies don't bounce back. We're supposed to wait until a certain time. Look, and if you're a woman that is fortunate enough to be horny all the time,
Kudos, babe.
kudos to you, but that's not everybody. And just like not all men are horny all of the time. And so you're going to have those extremes of women who are like, I can't wait 6 weeks. I can't do it. I am ready to go. And look, more power to you. But that's not most of our realities. And I think that our bodies need time to heal. One, we need time to get comfortable with ourselves, and that self-love of our body's going to look different. And it's going to take work with our partner on how to reconnect, and it will come. And I think the understanding and the expectation of it may not be immediate and being okay with that can really reframe someone's thinking of what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me that I don't want to have sex 6 weeks after having a baby because the doctor said I could. Look, we got to go into it with the expectation of that just may not be reality. But just like anything in life, if we want it, we have to take the steps to take it.
Well, and that we talked about it earlier about seasons. So in my entire life, and let's even just go to my marriage, so in the last, let's say 10, 12 years, I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
Everybody just heard, but I don't remember exactly. I mean, we've been married for 8, but Anyway, we've had a lot of different seasons. When we first started the business, it's not the same as having a baby, but it was huge for us. We both quit our jobs. Money was different. We moved. It was this huge upheaval. Like, my anxiety was insane. Money was crazy. We didn't have any time. And sex was really difficult. Like, I went through this huge dip. My anxiety was massive. And that happens a lot with children too. And I say all that to say very much what you just said. We have to allow the seasons. If you think, oh my God, I just had a baby and I'm never going to want to have sex again, and I hate my partner and this is terrible. And then your partner's like, she's never going to want to have sex again. And now what the hell? And you've created a catastrophe out of a single season. The seasons come back. That's why it is important to, like you said, when I say put the kids up, watch a damn movie. Chad and I still do that sometimes and have so much fun. watch TV and eat food and crack up laughing. And Talon was like, what were y'all laughing about at 3 o'clock in the morning the other night? He woke me up when he came to bed, and dude, we were just dying laughing about the most ridiculous stuff. That's it. We didn't even have sex that night. I was fucking tired.
Right.
We went to sleep after that, but it was the greatest hour.
And the laughter is fulfilling in a different
That's
way.
still a form of intimacy.
Intimacy. It's your season, and you've got to let the seasons ebb and flow in everything. I always say, if I'm going to be married for 60 to 80 years, I am not always going to have the same libido. I'm not always going to be the same person. In the last 44 years, I haven't always been the same person, and I haven't always had the same libido. You're setting yourself up for failure if you think that forever sex is going to look exactly the same, because it won't.
Yep.
But your love can, maybe not the same either, but your intimacy and your awareness and your communication can, you know?
Next question.
We ready, ladies? This is the burning question, besides anal, and of course I get it.
It's our top tier question.
I want to add a third to our sex life. How do I mention this to my partner? Ladies, you bear all when you come to us. And we love that. That's what we're here for. And you ask these questions that are so raw and so simplistic in the way that you ask them. And my answer is always going to be the same. Just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that. That's exactly how you ask them. Just like that.
You just asked 33,000 women. Why
Right.
can't you just
Why
ask
can't
one?
you ask your partner? Now, I will be honest that it can be uncomfortable, especially after a first time. And it depends on who's initiating it. If at any point I preface any of my conversation and experience with this topic, if at any point you feel uncomfortable with your partner coming to you for a threesome or wanting to talk to your partner about a threesome, and you don't really want to do it, do not do it.
Yeah, please
It
don't
will
feel
not keep
obligated.
a man.
Please don't feel pressured.
It will not keep a woman. If somebody says you do this or I'm out,
They can go.
they can go. If you feel uncomfortable at any point with this topic, then the answer just may be it's simply not for you. But it can be a beautiful thing. It can be very easy in how you approach it. Hey, look, hey partner, man, I've got this friend I really think is hot or handsome. I've always had this fantasy. Have you ever done this? Have you ever had a threesome? Really? Yes or no? Yes. What's your experience? Was it just some drunken college hookup? Would you ever be interested in trying that again? Again, it goes back to communicating your wants and desires with your partner in a space where you don't feel judged about it.
Yeah.
And I will say this about my sobriety as well, and I preach this all the time. You have to be real honest with yourself. When tiptoeing into these waters of inviting a third, a fourth, a fifth, or into your relationship, into your bedroom, you have to be clear on the boundaries that you're setting with the person that's coming into your bedroom and with your partner, what will be acceptable and what's not acceptable, and how the communication is going to be with that third person. I feel for women, it's easier for a woman to say, I'm going to make that connection. I have the communication with that person, and it leaves all the jealousy of the guy out of it because they're not setting it up. They're not doing it.
Right.
But it very much can be as simple as, this is something I think that maybe I'm interested in. And then be real honest about if you want to do it or not, or be honest with your partner that you do want to do it. Again, there are research, there are books. You can watch pornography with your partner and with that topic, whether it's two men, whether it's two women, or three women if you were in a lesbian relationship, and gauge their interests. What did you like about that? Is that something that you would be interested in? And be real honest with yourself. Because when it comes to the jealousy that we feel, that all has to do with the past shit.
Yeah.
It all has to do with the things that we are trying to heal from. Mm-hmm. And if you're uncomfortable with it, say that.
Yeah.
And y'all, stop telling everybody it's so taboo or blah, blah, blah. All these very judgmental comments on a lot of the topics that we find, especially this one when it comes to sex. It's just not that rigid. It's not that rigid. It's not a square box. It's not black and white. People can have these experiences and they can be beautiful, and you don't have to be ashamed about it. Again, it goes back to the anal. It could be threesomes, whatever the case may be. Like, it's meant to be fun, y'all. It's meant to be fun.
Yeah.
Ask them just like that. Hey, I'm interested.
Communicate. And if something's not for me, just going off what you just said, if something's not for me, I just shut my mouth. Like, but that goes back to seasons. I've had a lot of experiences. I don't currently have them anymore. Seasons change. If it's not for you, I don't think that we need to make others feel uncomfortable for having it.
Right.
That goes back to what we were talking about earlier about anal and men and the reason why people are so stressed. Like, I love what you just said about a lot of times it's not about how they feel. It's about how they've been made to be feel about all the things that are getting put in their brain. You need to decide how you feel.
Right.
And then just say it. I mean, if we have figured nothing out today, we have figured out that you just have to say stuff.
Yeah, you just have to communicate. It's okay.
There's really nothing in life if I can't learn to open my mouth and just say it. I don't know.
Who are you if you can't speak?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I feel sorry for everyone around me if I can't just tell them that, you know?
For everyone clutching their pearls about this topic, I assure you, a lot more of your friends are having threesomes than you realize.
Yeah.
We see it so many times,
so
and the
much.
shame, it's so...
You can't kink shame someone. It's rude.
It's disheartening to see, but I have to remember to meet these women where they are. I have to remember I've had a lot of experiences over the last several years. I know where I came from. I know where I am now, and I'm grateful that I have a partner who wants me to evolve, that wants to see me happy, that wants to see me challenged in all aspects of my life, and that we keep doing this forward motion. But we want you ladies to understand, like, if you don't like something, say something. There are, like Heather said, there are seasons. This life experience, this sexual experience does not have to be linear. You can evolve, and we're not going to shame somebody else for the experiences that they're having, the feelings that they're having, the desires that they are having. If they're different from ours.
Yeah. I hope you have the best time.
I want, we want you to have the best time, and we want you to feel like you're not alone in all of these things.
You're not alone. Like, I want you to have the best time. I want you to grow and evolve and figure out what you like. I don't want you to kink shame anybody because it's fucking rude.
That also goes both ways. Like, how many times do we see women come on and say, well, everybody likes to do threesomes and the sex stuff, there's just so much of this and I feel uncomfortable.
Oh, in the group itself?
Absolutely. But if they're doing it in the group, then that's real life.
Right.
To me, that we're a small bubble up.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but also, who cares? You're taking that as your trauma. Don't shame somebody because they're not either.
Right.
Like, this has got to go both ways. Again, we should be comfortable that, I mean, how many of us admins are there, and we all have our different things. And I think that's the coolest thing.
Right.
I love watching everyone's experiences. I think of myself, and I'm probably like 8 different people if you think about my entire life experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
I know.
Why are we not like, I love what you said about it's fun. Just live life, man.
It's supposed to be fun. It's not ever, sex is not supposed to be a red flag. I mean, SA is a little bit of a red flag, but like, sex is supposed to be fun. Foreplay. It literally has the word play in it because that's what it's about. It's fun play.
But it goes back to how we were raised, that it's very taboo. And if sex makes you uncomfortable and somebody else talking about sex makes you uncomfortable, that's a you thing.
That's what it is.
That's a you
100%.
thing that you have to figure out. And ladies, pro tip, if you want to go read all the comments on the anal post and you want to read all the juicy details on the threesome post and see who's saying what and you know what you're going to see in your feed? All those things.
Yep.
So quit engaging with it and you won't see it. That's how the algorithm works.
Yep.
So
Use
don't
your
come
thumb.
complaining when all you see are the sex posts. because that means that's what you're engaging with and that's what you're viewing. If you don't want to see it, simply scroll on. And until such time, and I hope that you get there, that you are comfortable speaking about sex, whether it's trauma, whether it's your experience, whether it's your desires. We're a group of 33,000 women and growing, and we welcome you to the table. We welcome you to the table to say, hey, I'm uncomfortable with what I'm seeing. I don't understand why. I'd love to not be judgmental about this shit, but I am, and I don't know why. Help me.
We call that an open mind.
I will also add that like polyamory has been around for thousands
We just
of
went
years.
straight to poly. All right now.
Threesomes.
She's like, I'm doing it.
I did.
I'm saying.
I went to it. I went there. So polyamory, threesomes, all of that, that's been around for thousands of years. And then all of a sudden, like within the early 1900s, I'm going to say, people started getting more strict and like wives stayed at home and the husbands went to work and you couldn't do this and you didn't do this and you had to do the dishes. And like, it's just weird. I think there's a few generations that got really, really judgmental and honed in on one partner. That's it. All of the things. That's not how life works. Let's be realistic. I don't know what fucking world people live in. We've been having threesomes for thousands of years and they liked it back then. We like it now.
And if it's not for you, that's okay. There's no shame
There's
in that.
no shame, but you.
Because I'm not about to have a threesome with my current husband, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean I haven't
But
had one
you're
in a
not-
certain season.
right,
Like, I don't
but-
give a shit. I think that it's amazing, and I love that the people that do it are all for it.
I
But
hope
don't
they
judge
have-
my fucking husband. I'm
Right.
just saying.
Don't judge my husband. I hope you have the best time. I will say this. I will say this on the threesome, though. I know we talked about boundaries, but I will say this. Please, please, please do not feel pressured. I know couples that unfortunately are not together anymore, like divorced. It got really dirty, all of these things. Please do not feel pressured. If you are not interested in having a threesome, if your partner comes to you and you're like, no, hard no, maybe later, and I'll bring it up if I'm interested. But as of right now, hard no. Please do not feel pressured to say yes. And here is why. Because that shit is going to come up in almost every argument. That shit is going to get brought up. It is going to brew in you. It is going to burn a hole in your stomach because that is all you think about. You're going to imagine the things that you've seen during that time, what your husband or what your partner was doing to that girl. It's going to fester. If you are not 100% on board, mention it, say it, speak up, speak out. You're not a prude because you don't want to have a threesome. It's not for everybody, and that is okay. That's the beauty of it. It's okay if you don't want to do it. But if you do want to do it, I wish you the best.
Absolutely, and have boundaries. And
Yeah,
communicate.
have boundaries. You need to have boundaries with your partner and have rules set before you even start looking
I wrote
for
that down.
someone.
That's going to be a good, I think, topic for later. I wrote down a couple of topics for another day, but I think
Yeah, you
having
did.
a really good conversation about what those boundaries specifically look like.
Yeah, like, I mean, it needs to be from front to back on what's going on because there can be one situation that, oh God, we didn't talk about. And like, he's touching her in the wrong way and I don't fucking like that.
See, but that goes back to my follow-up. That goes back to playing the tape. That goes back to the coach watching the footage. It's always, how did you feel about this?
Yeah.
Did you like this? No, you know what? And there are some in place for us where I'm like, you know, I really didn't care to watch that. Okay, cool. And now that is off the table.
Yeah.
And it's, you have to communicate about those things. You have to be honest without fear of rejection about the follow-up. You know what? I got through it, but it really wasn't for me. Or, you know what? I really liked this. I enjoyed this. This maybe not so much. That I can tell you now is a hard no for me. Should we ever do this again? And again, it has to be open. We keep preaching this, ladies, about open communication about these things, because if we don't talk about it, it festers inside of us and it translates to every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
It does. Well, and our last question, it's funny because communication. I mean, literally the top of what I was going to say. My partner is amazing at everything but sex. I don't want to hurt his feelings, so what can I do? first of all, speak up without being a dick, by the way. I didn't say you suck at this.
This is a vulnerable conversation to have with another partner.
So let's have that conversation. So a while back, we had a post about her. She found that her partner was using, erectile dysfunction medicine, but he hadn't told her, and she was offended. Well, my initial thought was he was just embarrassed. He wasn't like lying or right.
Yeah.
Her initial thought was dishonesty. Okay. So I think that when we understand how vulnerable this conversation is for both people, also when we understand what we were talking about earlier, our partner needs the same amount of love. Like we have given men this appearance. I don't know. I don't know that I have the words for it quick enough right now, but to say that we have given them this, I know it all, and I am strong, and I am confident, and I've got this. But they do not. They fucking do not. Okay? They don't. They deserve and need as much love as we do.
Of course they do.
So, but again, that's the same thing in sex. So sometimes they're not going to communicate. Sometimes they don't know what's wrong. Sometimes their libido is struggling and they're not sure how to say that. Sometimes it's ED. Sometimes it's anxiety. Sometimes it is their health and wellness or depression. I could do this all day. You have to learn to have conversations, and it has to be kind and vulnerable conversations. And you also can't nitpick, and you can't make it about you, and you can't be harmful or rude about it. It needs to be an honest, simple, is there something I can do? If not, let me back off and let you think about it.
Yeah.
In the same respect, if they're just not good at it and they're trying, then help teach them. And there's a common way to do that too.
Yeah.
Hold their hand. Tell them what you like. I always tell women, don't do 20 things in one night.
No.
Just do one, man. Like, don't try to make like porn sex in one night. Like, man, if he's not that good at it, just teach him one little thing that night.
You can easily,
Exactly. And then you're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was so great. And then the next time we try something else. Like, slow and steady. How would you want to be treated?
I think it's about teachable moments, right? So I think if your partner is not good at sex, like if it was me, I would come in with a more teachable moment of being like, babe, I've seen this position. I totally want to try it. And then like have him do it and then kind of teach him those ways. If it works, he's going to remember how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the way their brain works. Like he's gonna remember what makes you feel good. So make it a teachable moment. Look up some, what is those books? Starts with an S?
Smut?
Oh, no. No.
Sutra?
Yeah, doesn't even start with an S, motherfucker. Look up those positions. Like there's
Literature?
Literature.
I like that.
I love, that's a shirt.
Oh.
All day long.
The clitorati.
Like, oh my God, stop it. It's getting better. Yeah, so like make it a teachable moment. Make it a vulnerable moment. You can't go in headstrong. You can't go in with an attitude. Like you're immediately they're gonna put their walls up and be embarrassed and feel all of these like really sad, traumatic things. And like there's some people that will never forget how this conversation went.
Yep.
Right?
I will shut you down too.
Completely. And then if that relationship stays, great. If it goes, they're going to probably drag that shit onto the next person. And like, sex anxiety is a thing. Like if you have so much anxiety, no matter, you can't come, either or, guy or girl, like it doesn't matter. So I would say this. Make it a teachable moment. You make forth effort of like showing positions, doing certain things, doing foreplay, stuff like that. Teach them. I'm not going to say they're puppies, but they're basically puppies at that point, and they're willing to do whatever makes you happy.
But aren't we too? I mean, I think about it. I think about my box of toys, which is small now because the other one flooded. It's sad, but it's and it's really
we need
sad.
to get her for her birthday.
Sad about it. But anyway, I think about it. I started with one. Right? I started with one. Just like positions, I started with one.
Yeah.
And the play started with one.
Right.
And we go from there. It's if you think about it.
Yeah.
Similar. You start with one and you learn and you play together and you learn together.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. It's learning together. I think one of the biggest things that we need to stop doing as women is look, and I am guilty of it myself, even being with the same person for years and not being teachable or not teaching, because I myself didn't know what I liked. I lacked the experience to know what it was that I really liked. Stop faking orgasms.
Oh, Jesus.
Stop.
Do we still do that?
Yes, women still do that. And again, it goes back to it's being uncomfortable with having the conversation. Oh, I don't want to make him feel bad that he didn't make me come. It is supposed to be a reciprocal and beautiful situation when you are in that safe space of a bedroom or, in the car, in the hotel, in the shower. I mean, wherever y'all are fucking.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be about the both of you. And it is supposed to be enjoyable for the both of you. It's not about him getting his and yours getting yours and then you walk in and then you walk away. It is supposed to be this symbiotic kind of movement of bodies and back and forth and working together. And if part of that is not working, you've got to say something in a kind way, move their hand, be gentle, but stop faking that what they're doing is working, because they will carry that from partner to partner and think that they're doing a good job. I mean, think about it. If you were getting praised for doing something a certain way and you were being lied to, and you had no idea, you'd keep doing it. You would keep doing it and not knowing that you're about to bite his dick off. I mean, like, for real. They're the same way.
Fair. Totally fair.
So fair.
But the same way. Think about it. I mean, sometimes some of these things just boil down to logically. How would you feel? How would you feel if somebody told you over and over and over again that you did a good job? And even if you weren't with that same person, you're going to carry that on to the next person. You're going to keep doing that shit. So for the sake of that fellow woman that's going to sleep with your cast off, stop faking an orgasm. Be a girl's girl.
We're trying to help the world.
Yes.
But I mean, that is fair. It is true. And
Yeah,
also,
it is.
It's cool when you first start dating somebody, maybe, or you think it's cool. Like, oh, I'll just fake it once. I'll fake it twice. Bruh.
If you want things to change.
5 years in, 10
Right,
years in, it's
right.
not gonna be so cool.
Insanity is keep
It's
doing
gonna
the
be
same thing
perfect.
over and over and over again and expect different results.
Exactly. It's
And
not
so
gonna be that cool anymore.
look, ladies, if we're going to be real honest, a lot of you that are post in these sexless marriages, etc., was it ever really that good? You talk about you talk about your partner, you talk about your sex life now. Was it ever different? Was it ever different, or you were working towards an end goal, and now that you've got your end goal, you're like, wait a minute, this, I see other people having these experiences, or I'm reading my clitorati and I'm seeing that, wait, it can be different, but I've never done differently. It's not going to be different until you have those uncomfortable conversations. They don't even have to really be that uncomfortable.
At all.
If you like the person and you communicate, because let me tell you, I like him and he likes me. And so pleasing each other
Makes it so much
is
better.
so much better. There are things that I do that, may not do anything for me. They're not a hard boundary, but I do it because he likes it. In the same way, something may be not necessarily for him. He's not against it, but it's what I like, and it's what turns me on, and what gets, it's the foreplay that gets me going. So again, it's about give and take. It's a balance. It's a movement. It's supposed to be reciprocal. It's the best word I have for it. It's about the both of you.
It's a beautiful word. It's giving energy and receiving the energy and being comfortable with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't think I've ever been really uncomfortable telling him anything. Now that you say that, and I'm like, I really haven't been. And so I guess if I have ever been, then that's what we should think about.
But the fear of rejection at that point has nothing to do with Chad.
No.
It has to do with my experiences.
So I was going to say that. So isn't that too about self-love and self-confidence? Also, have you ever masturbated? Or are you looking at yourself naked in the mirror?
Right.
I mean, so there are also things that you can do prior to, if you're not comfortable with sex in general, then you're not going to be comfortable telling your partner that you're not having an orgasm. And
Right.
so there's also a lot more to that,
I don't think that's ever been in me. Like, I think I've just been so much of an asshole to be like,
Yeah, bro, I'm getting mine.
we're not done.
I'm just saying.
Get down there. We're not fucking done. Absolutely not. Yeah. I've never went in softly with that. I don't think I'll ever go in softly with that if that happens. I don't fake orgasms because no.
I don't even think I'm not good of an actor.
We're not doing that.
I hate that.
I mean, I definitely have been guilty in my younger years. Look, I didn't have sex till I was 22. I didn't know what I was doing. And I made him think he
Oh no.
really did.
No.
Now I
For a
accept
long
not
time.
having one, which is just as bad.
I think
There's
it-
been
I think
times
it
where I
might have-
accepted that I didn't have one and they didn't care.
But I think a lot of it was
Never
mental.
faked one, you know.
I think a lot of it was mental for me, and I really don't think that it has.
is.
I really don't think that it is a lack of his ability or a lack of
'cause
his.
did you
a
like
lack-
him?
Right, I really did like him. And still to this day, he's one of my favorite people in the world. But that's not our relationship anymore. And I don't necessarily know that it was about him, but we get in our heads. I mean, this even happens with my partner now. I mean, we've been at this for a very, very long time, and I don't like anybody but him. But even still, there are times where I get in my head and I'm not present in the moment and I'm not enjoying what's happening because I let something that's outside of my bubble infiltrate my brain while I'm having sex and I lose it. It's not for his lack of ability and our lack of connection. It's that my brain took over.
Yeah.
And so he may not be bad at it. Think about that. That's something to think about. Are y'all really connecting? Are you really in the moment with that person? Are you really inside your bubble, ebbing and flowing with that person? Or are you somewhere else laying there going,
That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I have to write that down for the next time.
Write that
That's
down.
not him being bad at
because
sex.
if I'm laying there thinking about all these other things that aren't done and or all of the things that he's not doing to make me come, or oh my God, is this ever going to get over with? Can't he just make me come already? I'm never going to come.
Never.
That's anxiety, that's in your head, and that's you not being good at sex. Not for a bad reason, but because you are not in the bubble. We're going to start using in the bubble as our thing.
Yeah, be in your bubble.
But for real, I know, I totally, and I've been that. I've been her before. I've been so full of anxiety and in my own shit and in my own brain, and it had absolutely nothing to do with my relationship. It had everything to do with who I was and where I was. But also, I was in tune enough with myself to admit that and not blame it on my partner.
Right.
And know that, like, man, I need you to give me some time. Like, this is about me to figure this out. Like, our mental health, especially women, but men too, play a huge part in sex and in our libido. Huge. Way more than I think we give credit.
And with that being said,
I know.
we are going to end this podcast. We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. We hope we answered some of you guys' questions, and hopefully you guys can go and have amazing, what is it? Like
Sex. Just go with it.
all the great fucking things, all the best fucking words. We hope you have amazing sex and all of the orgasms that you deserve. All right, you guys. We hope you guys have all of the best sex and all of the best orgasms, and we will see you guys later.